Hello everyone, I am Ritika Dhyani. I am working as an assistant professor in Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. So today's video lecture is on the topic ER diagram, which is a subtopic in the subject DBMS. Let's start. First of all, ER diagram stands for Entity Relationship Diagram. As the name suggests, it represents the relationship between the different entities in a particular database. So ER model stands for an entity relationship model. It is a high-level data model. This model is used to define the data elements and relationship for a specific system. It develops a conceptual design for the database. It also develops a very simple and easy way to design a database and to understand it with the user perspective. In ER modeling, the database structure is portrayed as a diagram called an entity relationship diagram. For example, let's say, suppose we design a school database. In this database, the student will be an entity because the overall database will focus on a student. So, student will be represented by an entity with some attributes like name, address, his age, etc. The address can be another entity with different attributes like city, street, pin code, etc. And there will be a relationship between the student entity and the address entity. For here, we can see entity is represented in a rectangular box. This entity is characterized by different attributes which are name, address, ID and age. Moving on to the different terms related to ER diagram or model is entity, attribute and relation, which represents the relationship between two entities, and the attribute represents an entity, like what are the characteristics of a particular entity. Entity can be a weak or a strong. We will discuss it about later. Attribute, there are some different types of attribute and different relationships are there in ER diagram. So first of all, let's talk about entity. An entity may be any object, class, person or a place. In ER diagram, an entity can be represented as rectangle. Here, as you can see, loan is an entity which is represented using rectangular box. Consider an organization as an example where manager, product, employee, department can be taken as an entity. So, what is a weak entity here? An entity that depends on another entity called weak entity. For example, let's say we have a database where one of the entities is employee and some other entity like dependents. Some other entity is highly correlated with employee entity because in order to find a particular dependent, we need to have the employee ID as well. So, dependent can be considered as a weak entity here. The weak entity doesn't contain any key attribute. This basically means in a table where weak entities there, in a table we cannot able to find a particular row because we don't have any key attribute there. The weak entity is represented by a double rectangle. So here you can see loan is an entity and installment is also an entity, but this installment is only we can move to a particular row in this table if we have a loan represented with this installment. Second is attribute. The attribute is used to describe the property of an entity. It is represented using an eclipse. We already discussed this example. This is the entity and these are all attributes which are the property of this particular student. So first of all, different types of attributes. First one is key attribute. The key attribute is used to represent the main characteristics of an entity. It represents a primary key. The key attribute is represented by ellipse with the text underline. What does this mean? If we have an entity student, we can identify any student with his or her ID or roll number. Because, let's say roll number. If the student has, obviously the student will be having a name, but name can be repeated in a particular database. There is a chance, there is a high probability of many students having the same name. So we will not be able to find a particular student only on the basis of name. So for this, we will be needing roll number, because roll number will be unique given to a particular student. So we represent this roll number as primary key, or this is known as key attribute. Coming on to the second composite attribute. An attribute that composed of many other attributes is known as composite attribute. The composite attribute is represented by an ellipse, and those ellipses are connected with an ellipse also. So this is just an example. For example, this name. Now in name, we will be having first name, middle name and last name. So this particular is known as a composite attribute. Next one is multi-valued attribute. An attribute can have more than one value. It is obviously, for example, if we have a database of a student, there is a high chances or probability of a particular student to have multiple hobbies. So that can be considered as multi-valued attribute, because a student can like to play cricket also and like to sing also. These attributes are known as multi-valued attribute. The double oval is used to represent a multi-valued attribute. For example, here if we have phone number, so there is a chance that our student have multiple phone numbers. So we will be representing this multi-valued attribute with double ellipse or oval. Next one is derived attribute. An attribute that can be derived from other attribute is known as derived attribute. It can be represented by a dashed ellipse. So let's say we have a column with date of birth. Okay? But we don't need date of birth. We will be having age as an attribute. So we don't want this. We will be wanting age. But when the data is entered in the system, we don't want to enter the age directly. We want his or her date of birth. So from that date of birth, we will be calculating his or her age. So this age is, so here you can see this is an example of composite attribute. We have already discussed this particular name is having multiple attribute. This is the example of derived attribute, because a student can have multiple phone numbers. Here this age is represented using derived attribute, dashed ellipse. Next is the topic relationship. A relationship is used to describe the relation between entities. Here, this is one of the entity and student is another entity. And these entities are combined or joined or connected using a relationship, that a student teaches student, that a teacher teaches student. Relationship is represented using a diamond or a rhombus. Now, there are multiple types of relationships. First one is one-to-one relationship. When only one instance of an entity is associated with relationship, then it is known as one-to-one relationship. What does it mean? It means a single female is married to a single man at a time. So this represents one-to-one relationship. Next one is one-to-many relationship, when only one instance of an entity on the left and more than one instance of an entity on the right is associated, then it is one-to-many relationship. Example, a single scientist can have or can invent multiple products or inventions. So this is the one-to-many relationship. Next one is many-to-one relationship, when more than one instance of an entity on the left and only one instance of an entity on the right is associated, then it is known as many-to-one relationship. For example, here, multiple students can be enrolled in a single course, that is DBMS. So this is representing many-to-one relationship. Next one is many-to-many relationship, when more than one instance of the entity on the left and more than one instance of an entity on the right is represented, then it is known as many-to-many relationship. Here you can see many employees can be assigned to many projects, different projects. So this is the example of many-to-many relationship. These are the notations of how we can represent the previously discussed relationship in a ER diagram. One-to-one, a solid line. One-to-many, this is the symbol for many. Again, one or more, mandatory. One and only one. Only this is representing that the instance can be single. 0 or 1, either 0 or 1 is represented using this, and 0 or many can be represented as this. Moving on to the cardinality. First of all, DBMS stands for Database Management System, which is a tool used to do various operations on database like creation, deletion, updation, etc. To simplify the processing in data querying, the most popular type of database currently is used is relational database, which is a combination of rows and columns, and data may be then handled, updated, regulated and structured with ease. For writing query in DBMS, you need to learn about structured query language, that is SQL. Coming on to the cardinality, it means how the entities are arranged to each other, or what is the relationship structure between the entities. In a database, cardinality represents number that denotes how many times an entity is participating with another entity in a relationship. It is a very important attribute in representing the structure of a database. In a table, the number of rows or tuples represents the cardinality. For example, we have a student table and there are 1000 students enrolled. So there will be 1000 students data. So cardinality of this particular table will be 1000. Now the cardinality ratio. It is also known as cardinality mapping, which represents the mapping of one entity set to another entity set in a relationship. We generally take the example of a binary relationship set where two entities are mapped to each other. Suppose we want to track the purchase history of each customer, then we can use the one-to-many relationship or cardinality to find the data of a specific customer. Cardinality model can be used in databases by database managers for variety of purposes, but corporations often uses it to evaluate customer or inventory. So these are the 4 types of cardinality mapping or ratio which we have already discussed. These are nothing but relationship only. Next topic is generalization. It is a bottom-up approach in which 2 or more entities of lower level combine to form a higher level entity. Here you can see faculty will be having name, department, ID, age, phone number, etc. Student, he will be having name, age, phone number, class, year, etc. Now, these two will be combined as both of them are a person only. So, this person will be having name, age, phone number on combining these two entities. In generalization, an entity of higher level can also be combined with entities of lower level to form a further higher level entity. Generalization is more like subclass and superclass. These are the subclass and this is a superclass. But the only difference is the approach. Here it works as in bottom-up approach. In generalization, entities are combined to form a more generalized entity. Subclasses are combined to form superclass. Next one is specialization. It is just the opposite of generalization. It is now the top-down approach. First of all, here our employee can have name, age, phone number, ID, and when this employee can be a tester or a developer. Okay. For tester, it will be having all these attributes along with some testing ID, etc. And for a developer, having all these attributes along with some developer ID or projects or something like that. So, specialization is used to identify the subset of an entity set that shares some distinguishing characteristics. For here, the testing ID or here is the developer ID are different. Normally, the superclass is defined first. The subclasses and its related attributes are defined next. Relationship sets are then added in the last. Next one is aggregation. In aggregation, the relationship between two entities is treated as a single entity. For example, here, suppose we want to inquire about a particular course in a particular center, for example. So, what we can do is, firstly, we need to inquire about the center. What are the different courses or what is the feedback? What is the location of this particular center? Next, we need to inquire about the course, like who is teaching this particular course, what is the duration of this particular course. So, either we can do this individually or we can inquire about both using it as a single entity. It means we are inquiring about the both. Which center is offering which course? Center entity offers the course entity act as a single entity in the relationship, which is a relationship with another entity visitor. In the real world, if a visitor visits a coaching center, then he will never inquire about only the course or just the center. He will inquire about the both. So, we will be treating them as a single entity. Now, reduction of an ER diagram to a table. First of all, let's say we have this ER diagram. Firstly, this entity will be converted into a table name or a table, right? We will be having student table, course table, lecturer, and last is subject. All these will be the tables. Next, if we talk about attributes, first of all, student ID. We will be having a attribute ID or a column in a student table. Next is name. Next one is address. Address is further divided into 3 parts, etc., etc. Right? Then there is another table which this relationship represents, attends, which will be having primary key of this particular table and primary key of this particular table. Like which student is attending which course, student ID and course ID. So, this is how we can convert this particular ER diagram to a table. Entity becomes table. Single value attributes become column. Key attributes defines the primary key. Multi-value attribute is represented by a separate table. Here we have hobby as a multi-valued attribute. So for student table, we will be having ID, and for ID, we will be having multiple hobbies. For one student, we can have 4 hobbies and more. Composite attributes represented by components. Derived attributes are not considered in a table. So this is how our table will be looking like. We have student table with all these columns, lecturer table, subject table, course table, and student hobby table with ID and hobby. Relationship of a higher degree. Degree can be defined as the number of occurrence in one entity that is associated with number of occurrence in another entity. We have discussed all of these in previous slides. This is one to one, one to many to many. First of all, one to one representing one instance of a particular entity is associated with only one instance of next entity. One to many, single entity, single instance can be associated with multiple entities. And many to many. Many employees can work on many projects. Thank you.